I talk too much. Hi, I'm Ty, and I like to talk about personal development and motherhood on this platform, but I also like to go more in depth and give examples on my blog, which is www.growminds.com. So you could always check that out if you want more information on the things that I talk about here. Today, I want to talk to you about expectations versus standards. So I think that we should be having and setting standards and not having and setting expectations. And I'm going to talk to you about why. So first we're going to go over what differences between expectations and standards. Then we're going to go over why having standards is better. And of course, we're going to go over some examples. So I have my notes here so that I don't go off on a tangent because I really am trying to make these videos short and sweet, but I talk too much because I'm so passionate about this stuff. But I don't want to lose you. So let's just jump right into it. So what is the difference between standards and expectations? So for me, having a standard is a threshold. It's a threshold that you set for yourself. It's internal. It's about you making a choice. And an expectation is more external. It's based on outside factors. And so it's more about what you think and believe about how someone or something else should be. Do you see the difference? I hope that you do. And so basically, in short for me, the difference between having standards and expectations is that standards give you power. Pause. Okay, so I have something really exciting to share with you. I'm super passionate about empowering and uplifting moms and women. And so I went and did a lot of research and found the top 5 high standards that powerful women have and set for themselves. And I think you should go click the link in the description so that you can get that list, because every woman should have this in her arsenal so you could be powerful too. Okay, bye. Back to the content. So for example, I have a standard around makeup and skincare products. So I have a standard that I will not accept or put onto my skin products that have parabens or artificial colors and fragrances and dyes. I don't put that type of stuff on my body, and that is a choice. That is a standard that I chose, and it is about me. Now, an expectation along those lines would be, I think that all makeup should be non-toxic, and the fact that it's not is simply absurd. Do you see the difference? That way sort of gives the situation the power and not me. It makes it about all of those brands or all of those products that are not toxic, and there's really not much that I could do about that. And so again, I don't have that control, which takes away my power. So for me, the difference between expectations and standards is you give yourself power. Your job is not to change someone else's standards or make them believe your standards or anything like that. Your job is simply to communicate them clearly and wait and see what happens, again, as to whether they're being respected or not. That's it. You're not better than anyone. Nobody is better than you. You just have different standards, and that is okay. And speaking of that, I think that it's very important for women to hear that you should have standards. It does not make you a bitch. It does not make you snobby or bougie or whatever people may say or however you may feel. I think that we don't have enough women who have strong standards and boundaries, and that's why we're always getting them violated, and then we feel some type of way and we feel like we're unworthy of things. But I think that it's about setting boundaries and clear standards, and you should definitely do that because you are entitled to do that. I feel like somebody needs to hear that. Moving on, we're going into why standards are better than expectations. So standards are better than expectations because expectations come with a lot of frustration, like I was just saying, and a lot of anger and a lot of disappointment because you can't control what somebody else is doing. All that you can control is you and your perspective and your mindset around something. So again, that shift in power is what makes an expectation not as powerful as a standard. Standards give you an option to measure where you're at. It's all about you. Instead of putting your happiness and worth into something else and how some outcome may or may not happen that you really don't have control over. So I want to go into an example of a relationship because I think that that's like a really common thing. So say that you are getting serious with someone in a relationship. You may have an expectation that they should take you home to meet their parents, and they should publicize your relationship on social media, and they should be checking in with you throughout the day and all of these things. Maybe you have like a whole list, right, of what you think should happen when you're serious with someone. And those are a lot of expectations, and you're putting all of those expectations on someone else as to what they should be doing, right? And again, that takes away the power from you. And then if they don't do it, you're gonna feel some type of way, and you're gonna make it about you anyway. You're gonna think that you're unworthy, or you're gonna think like, what's wrong with me? We're really hard on ourselves. So instead, if you just have a standard like, I'm not gonna be with anybody that does not see my value or that does not respect my time and body and energy, that shifts your power. If you have a standard that says, well, I'm only going to give my time and energy to and take someone seriously who doesn't make me question if I'm a priority for them, that shifts your power. It doesn't make it about them anymore and what they're doing. It makes it about you, and it gives them a threshold as to what it takes to be with you. And then you can just sit and watch and see who reaches that threshold. And again, not in a like conceited, like funky kind of way, but just in a way where you're like, I know my worth, I know my value, I know my needs and how they need to be met, and it's okay for me to clearly communicate that. And if you don't live up to that, that's okay. It's not, you're not putting anybody down, but you don't have to accept it, right? And so you just have different standards, and that's okay. And so that's what I believe standards versus expectations is about. You don't have to have someone, if they don't live up to your standards, don't take it personally. You have standards. You have high standards maybe, or even if you have low standards or whatever, you don't have the same standards as someone else, and that's okay. That's the point of setting standards, is so that you can know when something is triggering you that you don't like. That's a sign that you need to set a standard around that. And that's another important point. When something is bothering you and you don't like how you're being treated, you need to set a standard around that. And again, that is very important to do so that you're not being violated and feeling depleted and worthless in your relationships. And standards are something that will bring you more happiness. It's less stressful and it gives you more power. Whereas expectations really don't give you power at all. And it's really more stressful and disappointing. You're almost always setting yourself up for failure. Okay? So I hope that was really clear for you. I hope that you're still with me on this, and I hope that you found value in this. If you did, maybe share it with someone who you think needs to hear it, because I know that I needed to hear this at a point. I just didn't know, and I don't think that it's a common mindset that we have around expectations and standards. So okay, bye.